Welcome to GCCars, my name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse, and this is the all-new Genesis Electrified G80. Unsurprisingly, Genesis has done a pretty fantastic job with this car, and we're going to go over a few reasons why.
Yeah, I think we start off with the exterior here, and I think the very first thing that stands out is that it actually looks like a car. It doesn't look like an egg, like
EQS.
Yeah, like that, or even some of the other ones, but this actually looks like a proper luxury car, just so happens to be converted into an electric vehicle. And the only way you can tell is through the grille, which is the inverted grille, which I think, I mean, not the biggest fan necessarily of it as a detail, but it doesn't ruin the car at all.
It doesn't ruin the car. It would look more understated in black, in my opinion.
Agree. But it's, honestly, it's still such a good looking vehicle. It has a lot of class, just like a lot of Genesis vehicles do right now.
100%.
The color is quite interesting. Matera blue, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Matera, whatever that stands for.
Matera green, really, because it's more green than blue.
Yeah, like this is green. Like, let us know if you think this is blue. I don't know if this is like remember that dress? That was like either yellow, what was it, yellow and white or blue and black?
Yeah.
Maybe this is the same, but this is green for me.
Or maybe we're both colorblind or something, I don't know.
But it definitely has like a pearlescent effect, which it kind of shifts colors from a little bit blue into green depending on where you're looking at it. It's actually pretty cool. Wheels, great.
Really nice.
Really nice, and the whole profile. I mean,
I love the side, we talked about this earlier, the side, the turning signals.
Oh yeah, the turning signals on the side.
They're really nice.
And it's just this continuous light, right? It goes from the front to the side.
It has kind of an aircraft, like, I don't know what it is. I think of like when I see the rims and the turn signals.
Yeah, it's kind of like turbine
It's
theme.
nice.
It's really nice. And I think the back just,
That's
honestly, cohesive.
Down.
It looks great. It's a good looking car. It's a really good looking car. And why don't we take a look at the interior?
Sure.
You barbarian, this is soft close. This is how you close doors.
That's like, look.
Not
That's like 3 seconds. I could have gone to 0 to 100 in that
Yeah,
time.
do you know how much the average person that has this got paid in those 3 seconds? He's not used to luxury life. Anyhow, now entering you in the $100,000 plus luxury life, this is quite nice.
It is.
Quite nice.
It is.
I wouldn't necessarily pick the, okay, we keep saying we wouldn't pick the spec. I'm a like, you like black interiors, do you?
I do. I like white too. I like them all.
So there's white and you can get beige interior. You can get cool colors for this, but this looks very nice. The materials are really good.
Everything's good except for my one gripe is up here.
Up there. I'm not tall enough to put my arms on there.
He's
anyway.
a child, so like that's not for him. But for me, in the summer, I'd be having, especially as a passenger, I'd have my arm up here. It's a small complaint, but when you're talking over $100,000, you're allowed to have small complaints.
Yeah, no, that's true. The wood looks really nice.
Everything else is amazing.
Feels good. We have up front, we have very little piano black. We're going to get to that other part in the bid. And otherwise, seating. Seating is very comfy.
Comfortable, super adjustable, and the, I don't know what you call this feature, but when you put your finger
Capacitive touch? I think it's capacitive touch.
touch.
So you just kind of like touch the button and it'll tell you what the button does without you having to actually move the button, which is really convenient when you actually want to adjust it. Heated, ventilated, massaging seats for Mr. Driver over there. And other than that, tech-wise, it's really good. So we got the, I don't know how big. I'm just going to guess 12-inch. I don't know if this is accurate.
12.5 inch maybe?
Maybe 12.5-inch infotainment system. It's a touch screen, but it's a little far away, so you can just use your touch and dial part back here. It's touch whatever you want to use. I like the Genesis infotainment. My only complaint is that we don't have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's just wired. But
Kind of ridiculous, but
yeah, it's just, I think it's because of a bit of an older system. And our HVAC is right here. It's partially touch, but it's always available, right? So you don't really have to go through the infotainment.
Right.
Honestly, I'm fine with it. And the whole thing vibrates, so you do have a bit of capacitive touch feedback in the end. And then we have, of course, a wireless charger and all the good stuff. Honestly, I really like,
and our virtual cockpit here is really nice. You got a little bit of a 3D.
Yeah, it's three-dimensional
here. It's nice.
Really nice. And of course it changes with the drive mode, so whatever you change it to. And honestly, it's a nice place to be. The only thing we're missing is a sunroof.
Yes. And I know for some people that will be a deal breaker. Like someone like my dad, he would never buy a car without a sunroof. Some people don't care.
But yeah, I got used to it, and I think because the headliner is brightly colored is actually pretty nice. Now I like this a lot up front. Second row, pretty much the same. Materials are still very nice. Materials are very, very comfy. You do have your little kind of center console you can put down, because what we have in the back,
I like that a lot.
is an electric sunshade for the rear.
Nice.
That feels very fancy. You know, you're in a traffic jam and you have those people in their, Nissan Sentra or in their Kia Celtas looking in, it's like plebeian people. I would not like you to look into my car. This is private. And then you have sunshades on both sides. They're manual though, so you actually have to work for 2 seconds. And heated seats on the back, and they just look amazing.
It's nice. So everything's done well.
Oh, this is good. This is good. So lastly, trunk. That's where we compromise. That's where we compromise because this is not a purpose-built EV, right? This is a conversion. So this was an internal combustion engine car, the G80, and then they put battery and drivetrain and all that in. Meaning they had to sacrifice some of that trunk space, and we only have 10.8 cubic feet of trunk space, and some of that has been in an upper cabin.
And it's not an efficient 10.8 either.
No, it's not perfect. So you can still fit quite a bit of stuff in here, but it's not maybe for vacation or something like that. It might not be entirely perfect, but that's one of the few trade-offs really here.
Well, that's something that maybe an electrified GV70 or GV80 would solve.
Yes.
If you need more space.
That'd be nice. I'm really looking for, I'm sure they're going to do an electrified GV80.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that. Anyhow, speaking of electrified, how about we go driving?
Yes.
Okay, now out on the road in the electrified G80. Let's see how quick it is. Brake torque and...
There goes my head.
This never gets old.
Might as well just put your head against the seat to begin with.
Yeah, but
that's where it's going anyways.
That's not as fun. That's not as fun. So this is an electric car, boys and girls and everyone. This is obviously very quick. This is obviously very quick. Let's put it into regular driving mode. No, that's not comfort. It's obviously very quick, instant torque. It's a lot of fun if you want to have it, and it's also fairly quick. What's our horsepower and torque on this?
365, 516?
Yes, exactly. 365 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque from a front and a rear motor sent to all 4 wheels thanks to all-wheel drive.
Oh yeah.
And it goes if you wanted to. It's pretty nice, actually.
It goes to 104.1 seconds.
Yeah,
the non-EV is about 5 seconds. So
the G80 Sport, yeah. So if you want to have the fastest G80 on the road, well, that's going to be the electrified G80. And yeah, I mean, it's an electric drivetrain. You can really can't get much better than that for luxury applications, in my opinion. Because
you are paying for it.
Yes,
you are paying for it.
You are paying for it. We'll get to that. But yeah, so for electric drivetrains, like for luxury drivetrains, you can't get better than electric. It's 100% smooth. Like, it is quiet. It is just so nice. But before we end up talking about something else, why don't we do a little bit of a handling test? We're going to put it into sport mode and see how quick and agile this G80 is. Going to be a little careful, of course. It's still winter, but I wish there was a bit of lack dynamics there.
Yeah.
A bit. Like, I expected a push out of that corner, and it just never came.
No, it didn't.
Like, it didn't understeer, which was nice, but there was potential for a more engaging driving dynamics. Where it could have pushed us out of the corner, but instead it kind of killed the power. And what's also noticeable, if you do some fun stuff in this, like sometimes the all-wheel drive doesn't want to do the sporty thing and send power to the outboard wheel. So sometimes you spin one wheel instead of rotating. But this is a luxury car.
I mean, that wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad at all. Like you said, it's quick. This is not meant to be a sport car. And I think with that being said, how about you drive?
Sure. This car drives like butter.
Right.
It really is so smooth.
It is so nice. And that's what I'm saying, like maybe like a V12 could come to like this smoothness. I've never driven a V12, but it's just so buttery smooth, and it is quiet.
Yes, that's what we were talking about on the way here. It's super, probably one of the quietest cars I've ever been in.
Yeah, I agree. It is so nice and quiet in here, and especially like at highway speeds or close to highway speeds, you don't hear much. There's a bit of wind noise, but
you can never eliminate that fully.
Exactly.
I don't think.
No, I agree, and it's so good. And add to that, the suspension is so good.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto and the surrounding area is really bad for roads, and this kind of handles all the bumps really nicely.
And this might actually be the nicest riding EV I've ever been in. Like, I can't quite remember how good the EQS was. The EQS was pretty good.
It was a solid car all around too.
Yeah, but like this is just amazing because what it eliminates is the waft that you often find in like.
Sorry.
Yeah. I would have done the same to you. I don't blame you. I've probably done the same to you actually. So there you go. So often because there's so much weight in an electric car, right? You have this waft. So you hit a big bump and the car moves up but then the suspension struggles to control the body movement. You kind of go back down, you go up and down, a little sideways. So it's just like it unsettles the body really, really easily. This is so solid. You hit a bump, you go up, you go down, you're done. So that's why I'm just like, it is such a relaxing car to drive. And honestly, one of the best driving EVs I have driven. Maybe the best driving EV.
It feels like a $100,000 car.
It feels like a $100,000 car.
But speaking of that, is it worth $24,000 more than the Sport?
That's a good one. So I think, yeah, what was it, $24,000 more?
Around $24,000 more
than a fully optioned G80 Sport. So the same car with a V6 in it. And like, this is faster. This won't handle as nicely as a G80 Sport. The G80 Sport will be more dynamic. This will be much more refined though. It'll be quieter, it'll be smoother. So I think that's definitely, if you want to have the most refined G80, this is it. This is the nicest G80 you can buy.
But it's not one of those cars where you could justify gas savings.
I mean, you will still save, but I mean, making up $24,000 does take a while. And I think we did the math. Like a little under 100,000 kilometers you would need to drive before this becomes like cheaper.
Right.
Even if you give this like a $10,000 premium in terms of, because it's so much nicer. But honestly, I don't think this is a car that you really need to care so much about value for, because the essential question is, what is better than this at sub $100,000?
Nothing. I mean, the EQS is 160.
Yeah, the EQS is 160 once optioned out, and that had a few benefits and range and all that. But really, the bigger competitor is in the EQE, which we haven't been in yet. It's not available in the press fleets. But from what I've heard and what I read on the spec sheet, from my own personal kind of experiences in Mercedes, I don't expect the EQE to beat this.
And the price point on that is approximately? Do you know?
Kind of similar, actually. Once you start optioning out, you will have less horsepower though.
Right.
It only has like 280 horsepower. What we also have in here, which admittedly the EQE will probably do a little nicer, is tech. Tech is still really good because we have the usual Kia Genesis like infotainment, Kia Hyundai Genesis infotainment suite and safety suite. So we have emergency braking and all that what we want to have, but specifically the semi-autonomous driving is really good. So you can pop on that, this on the steering wheel, right? You can pop on the lane assist essentially, and now you can theoretically drive without touching the steering wheel. Remember, this is a semi-autonomous system, so you need to have your hands on the steering wheel for legal reasons.
But we're showing you that you can.
But exactly, we're just for showcasing here. It is a really good system. Don't rely on it, but especially on big commutes,
it's doing well.
It's really good.
Should I swing it right here?
Yeah, why not?
Right.
So yeah, it's a great system. I love it, especially in a traffic jam. Like, it is fantastic. It just relieves so much. Like, you essentially don't need to do anything. You just need to monitor, keep your hands on the steering wheel, be ready to brake. That's it, and you're good to go.
There's also no shortage of. Oh, 1 second. Just let me.
But then we had the one wheel slip again, where it's like one wheel just slips a little bit. But other than that, range. Honestly, I was surprised because this is a conversion. This is not a purpose-built EV, right? Which is also why we don't have a frunk.
Right.
Right. But I got in winter, Canadian winter, around like sub-freezing, around 400 kilometers range, just under, which is honestly not too bad. Like, I mean,
less than the EQS, but
EQS and EQE will offer you a little more range. But for a conversion, this is actually fantastic. And charging super fast, super quick. You can charge it up to 350 kilowatt hours. So that should not really be a concern. Even for someone that can't charge at home, I didn't have any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, for someone doing a daily commute, 20 kilometers a day, I mean, what more do you really need?
Right, no, it's honestly, it's really good. And especially if you can charge at home, like for the few trips you do that's more than 400 kilometers in the winter.
Right.
I don't think this is an issue at all. This is a very usable range. But that leaves us with a price of $106,159.84. Really important to have those 84 cents in there. It is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but
competitors.
Does it feel like a $100,000 car?
Yes.
Yes, it does feel like a $100,000 car. I agree, and
there's not much else in that price range that compares.
Exactly. The luxury EV segment is still kind of developing. So yeah, you're gonna have the EQE, you're gonna have the BMW i4, which admittedly the i4 we haven't tested yet. We might get our hands on it soon though. But this is not a car you will buy and be disappointed with. It is extremely good. It is one of the best EVs, one of the best EVs I've ever driven. And yeah, honestly, if you're
looking, it's the only EV I've ever driven, but I'm impressed.
Right?
So I mean, take that for what you will.
I've shown him all the EVs we've had though.
I've been in the Mach GT, I've been in the EQS.
No, this is honestly, this is really good. Highly recommend it. I think Genesis did a great job.
I recommend it. I mean, there's not much negative I can say about it. If you can stomach the above $100,000 price,
you're gonna get in a great car.
Yeah.
Agreed. Alrighty, I think with that we can conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.
We'll see you guys on the next one, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly, every week. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.
Peace. Oh, that's more work.
No, it's not. It's you might wake the baby. Not that we have a baby, but it got weird.
We have a baby. No, redo.